So welcome to Wine Over Oceans, everyone. Today we are going to be talking to winemakers from the United States and also from South Africa. These are winemakers that are people of color or women winemakers or wine brand owners. And I'm just going to give you a brief overview of who we have on the call today. Today we have some of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Let's see for a second. We have let's just start off with Meraki. Oh, I can't, I said it so right the first 5 million times. So Merake, she is from South Africa. She's the winemaker for Ekendel Wines, and she is going to be, we're actually going to be tasting her Chardonnay today. And then next up we have Carmen Stevens. Carmen Stevens is also a South African winemaker. She makes wines for Carmen Stevens Wines. And then we're gonna have Jennifer. Jennifer is from the Sister Circle, and she's actually a wine importer and distributor. I love their story. She'll tell you a little bit more about how they came to South Africa, fell in love with the wine country, and wanted to help women in the wine industry. So they're bringing wines from South Africa to the United States. And then we have Maureen. Maureen is from Tesselarsdale. Tesselarsdale is in one of my favorite places in the whole wide world. Hermanus, Hemedel Arden, which means heaven on earth, and that's where her wine farm is located. And then we have Paula. Paula and I go way back. Where's Paula? I'm looking for her on my screen. So Paula Harrell, she makes wines for P. Harrell Wines, and she's from the United States. Paula's probably been with me just like Theo, who I'm going to introduce next, but they've been with me for a lot of these Wine Over LA festivals, so I'm super excited to welcome them back. And we're going to be tasting Paula Zinfandel. And then next up we have Theodora Lee. Theodora Lee is amazing. She's a full-time lawyer, and then she also owns the wine brand Theopolis. I've been to her house many times. Her house and her wine farm is so beautiful all in one. And she is going to be pouring a really special treat for us tonight. It's called the Cerise. I think I said that right. Did I say that right?
Cerise. Cuvée Cerise.
Cuvée.
We'll talk later.
Yes, Cerise, yes. So welcome from South Africa and from the United States. I'm so glad to be bringing two of my favorite places together. So we are going to get started. I think we have everybody on board. So first up, let's do Ekendel. Welcome. Rick, do you want to tell us a little bit about the Chardonnay that you're pouring, that we're drinking tonight?
Yes, I'll do that. Good afternoon to everyone in the United States and good evening to everyone in South Africa. I'm Marika. I'm the winemaker at Ekendel. So just quickly, briefly, so I know you're tasting the 2018 Janina, which is our Unwitted Chardonnay tonight. So this wasn't my wine. If you look at the back of the label, you'll still see another winemaker's signature on there. But I was fortunate enough to actually be the assistant winemaker when we were making this wine. And we are still continuing to produce it as it is, or as it has been done in 2018 already. So it's the Janina. We are located, Ekendel just quickly is located just between Stellenbosch and Somerset West on the Helderberg Mountain. So if you're ever in the Stellenbosch area, if you come to visit South Africa, you'll definitely see Ekendel as you drive towards the ocean. Yes, and then the Unwitted Chardonnay, this is really for us, this is really a wine that does really well for us. It is a wine that we produce in, as it says on the label, it's unwooded Chardonnay, but that doesn't simply mean that it's just a stainless steel fermented Chardonnay. So we actually use different clones of Chardonnay in different areas all over, or not all over, but in Stellenbosch mainly, and then also in Elgin, which is a cooler climate area, just to get that nice acidity, natural acidity to the wine. And then when we ferment this wine, we actually fermented in stainless steel tanks, in concrete eggs, and in plastic eggs. So you get a kind of a good complexity from these different fermentation vessels, which just brings it all together and making sure that it's not just a stainless steel fermented Chardonnay. If you have any questions around the Chardonnay, you're more than welcome to ask me. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to know.
Yeah, no, that was absolutely great. Does anybody have any questions? We'll also have time if you guys want to ask questions at the end. If anybody has the Zinfandel open right now, you can just show us the bottle. Like, who has their wine out? Let me just see a bottle. There we go. Candace, let me see. Can you just say something so we can get you full circle on the screen? Oh, there we go. And Christopher, I see it. Nice. All right. So you guys, I don't know who's opening that one up tonight, but if you have any questions in the future, I'm going to send out Marika's email address. So you can always email her any questions, or you can just wait until the end for any of your questions. All right. Up next, we have Carmen Stevens, and this is the only sparkling wine in your kit. So Carmen Stevens Sparkling Rosé. Where is Carmen on my screen?
Yeah.
And hi, do you want to talk a little bit about the Carmen Stevens? Oh, I do have a question. Before we go into Carmen Stevens, let's just ask, Monica had a question. How long is the Chardonnay aged in the egg?
So it is actually, it starts fermentation in the egg, or it finishes fermentation in the egg, and then it would stay there in the egg for between 6 and 8 months. So obviously throughout the year, we'll be tasting the wine just to make sure that it doesn't become any funkiness or any kind of reductive flavors that you get on there. But normally we would age it in the stainless steel tank, in the egg, in both eggs for approximately 6 to 8 months before we make up the blend, before bottling.
Nice question, Monica. I love it. All right. Any more questions? All right. Now, Carmen Stevens. Let's hear your story. I love your story. And if you guys want more detail or just like a really nice piece, you go to my YouTube channel. Carmen and I shot a really nice video talking about South Africa and the wine industry and her role in the industry. So let's talk about your sparkling wine right now, Carmen.
Good morning, everybody, and good evening, South Africans. It's nice to see all your faces on here. Wow, this is quite amazing what you can do with technology and how technology has improved communication throughout the world. So I'm very pleased to be here. I am Carmen Stevens. I've been a winemaker for 25 years, and tonight I am showing my sparkling wine. My Savvy sparkling wine, and the base of this wine is Sauvignon Blanc from a very cool part of South Africa, which is called Durbanville. And what that brings to the wine is the freshness, the zest. It's a very specific block in terms of the characters it gives through. And I don't know if you know, but Sauvignon Blanc is probably one of the varieties that ask for the most attention. Give it too little, then it grows its toys. Give it too much, then it just doesn't show. So it's a very difficult variety. You need to know what you're doing to capture the flavors in time. So this specific Sauvignon Blanc or specific sparkling is 98% Sauvignon Blanc and just 2% Cabernet Franc to give that perfume, a little bit of that salmon color to go with my jersey. And it is not made in the champagne style. So we add the CO2 afterwards. And I think what helped this wine to keep so well is the fantastic fruit base of the Sauvignon Blanc that has carried this wine over the years. So in my mind, it is, when I taste it, it's quite fruity. It smells of raspberries and strawberries. It has a nice full palate. It captures everything together. It's not completely dry, but it's not overly sick either. For me, this wine has perfect balance. And I think it still has the legs to keep. So what makes a wine keep is good acidity, good fruit base, good structure, and depth of palate. And for me, this wine has all of that characteristic captured in one. So I do hope that you enjoy. Cheers. Also, if I can put cheers. I want to add, I need to add, I'm turning, my birthday is in a few hours' time. Let me just see, in another hour? What's the time now?
Yeah. So like hour and a half, maybe?
Yes. It's gonna be my big birthday, not just any birthday. I'm turning 50 tomorrow. So I need to cheers myself. So cheers, guys. And Jennifer is our distributor. Jennifer was so sweet. She came 2 years ago, fell in love with what we were doing in terms of wine in South Africa, and really wanted to promote South African winemakers to the world. So if you want to know more about our wines or where you can get hold of our wines, please speak to Jennifer. What an amazing lady. Cheers. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. And happy birthday. Happy early birthday. So we are very, very much celebrating tonight. And I see that there's so many bottles that are popped with the sparkling wine. I want to hear some feedback on that before we talk to Jennifer. Does anybody want to tell me what they think about it so far? There you
I'm
go.
not opening it. I'm giving it as a gift today. So I'm glad to hear that it tastes great for those who have said it. My girlfriends were celebrating her 56th birthday today. So I'm giving it to her as a gift.
Nice.
Well, birthday to her then.
Perfect birthday gift. Christopher, what's your wife's name?
Narisa.
Narisa, okay. So what did you guys think about it?
This is absolutely incredible. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Nice. And I think
what's the maximum age? How long can we age this?
You know, for a wine to age, it must have good acidity, good fruit, good structure. And for me, this wine has all of that. So I would probably, if you look at the wine, it's non-vintage. It's a blend of 2017 on the Sauvignon Blanc. And the Cabernet Franc is also from 2017. So the wine probably has another 4 to 5 years, but because it has the CO2, that helps to keep the wine beautiful and fresh, and it will actually help to increase the palate weight of this wine as it ages.
Very awesome.
Nice. Any more questions or feedback about the wine, about the sparkling rosé? Dr. Nat, yes?
Greetings from sunny Los Angeles. And Tuanni, thank you for the reminder. I appreciate it. Carmen, I have never had a sparkling that I know of where the CO2 was added. How is that done? Is it
Prosecco?
stream?
You know Prosecco?
Prosecco.
No, I don't.
Prosecco.
Oh, you know Prosecco.
Yeah.
No, who tasted that?
Prosecco is Charmat method.
It's the same. It's the same method.
Okay, I see. So when you said we added the CO2, I was thinking soda stream. And that's why I had to ask. So I'm glad you clarified that for me. So it's the Prosecco type method, Charmat method. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Good question. All right, any more questions? All right, so now we are going to move on to Jennifer. Jennifer, she's going to tell us the story of her Roots and Vines organization and her trip to South Africa and how she met these winemakers, and now she imports wines from South Africa to the United States.
Wonderful. Greetings, everyone. Thank you, Tuanni. It's a pleasure to be here and with all of you. And I wanted to say, first of all, happy birthday, Carmen. Happy Big 5-0. And Carmen's wines are one of our most highly regarded among our tastings. The delicate, we have 2 sparkling mosaics that we import, but Carmen's made our list, and it's the delicate bubbles that people really were moved by and just really opened up the palate. So thank you, Carmen, for sharing that with us. As Tuanni said, I'm Jennifer White. My company is Roots and Vines Wine, and we celebrate African excellence, right? We do that by importing award-winning wines made by Black South African women. And we serve as a portal between the US and Africa that empowers Black women economically along the wine value chain. And our story is really an organic one. It started from our college alumni, advocacy, and anti-apartheid, organizing back in the 1980s. Then we seasoned that with our alumni group travels to South Africa and falling in love with Pinotage. And then we followed that up with a collective investment model where we recruited 10 Black women to invest $5,000 each to really launch this import company and open up the $70 billion US wine market to Black women, to Black South African women in particular. And then we made our another trip to South Africa. We sampled over 30 different varietals made by Black women. And with the help of our investors and our sommeliers and our wine experts, we curated a collection, our first collection of 5 different wines. And we'll do different wines every quarter. And as I said, our goal is really opening up the wine value chain to Black South African women. And a lot of people, you know, we think of Black, of a vineyard being Black owned and the winemaker being Black to support Black businesses. But there are really almost 100 different touch points along the wine value chain from planting and harvesting to bottling to logistics, which is the wine that I'm going to be introducing to you. How we got introduced to logistics in South Africa was through Companishrift. And so that is the wine that I'm introducing. We thought that Ilse Rutherford was going to be able to join us. She might still be able to log on. I know we have some technical difficulties. But this Companishrift actually was a surprise favorite among our investors. And as many people know, right, South Africa has had a thriving wine industry for over 300 years. Most South African wines are paired best with food, right? It really enhances the flavor profile to accompany it with a good meal. And so most of our wines are meet that profile. However, this Companishrift, being most of our investors from California, this was the most Californian wine, if you will. And our wines in our selection are not sweet, but this one was our most fruit forward, if you will. And so this varietal is a 95% Chardonnay blend with 5% Pinot Noir. It's got some beautiful notes of apples and oranges and some plums. And then it's got a fresh acidity, which really elevates that the fruit profile. And so I'm interested, especially from the Californians, to hear what you think. This is our standalone wine, if you will. As I said, more similar to the California wines that people in California are accustomed to drinking just by itself on a warm day. So yes, any questions or comments from me?
Since I'm in Cape Town, can you show me that bottle so I can see what it is?
Absolutely. See the angle. This is Companishrift, and this company actually started by being a warehouse for Black winemakers in Cape Town, right in Paarl, because they didn't really have facilities where they could house their wines. And so then they became the portal to export the wines. And so then after doing this for so many years, they had a history of working on the farms and growing. And so they said, well, we've been helping all these people with their wine, we can do our own wine. So they launched their own wines. And so this is their Ilse, the winemaker's favorite, and one of mine as well, this Chardonnay Pinot Noir blend. And actually a portion of the proceeds go to benefit breast cancer awareness. Their general directors are survivors of breast cancer. And so the company infused that into their story, and which we really commended and really Fischrift.
Nice. Any more questions? Does anybody have that one open and they want to give us some feedback? All right. I think Mark's team, they're opening up all the wines. So just let us know what you guys think about the wines. Hey, you guys. All right. So next up, any more questions before we move on to the next wine? And
so are you still investing, taking investors?
Oh, very good. Thank you. No, ma'am, but our wines are all available online. Our website is rootsandvineswine.com. I'll put that in the chat. There's more information about our story, all the winemakers and all that. But so the goal is to connect Black women around import and export. And so wine is our first product. So we will have other investment opportunities. And so you can sign up for more information by joining the newsletter on our website. I'll type it in the chat.
Okay, will do.
I'll also put it in a follow-up email after this call.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jennifer. All right, so next up we have Maureen Sauls, and true story, I was stalking Maureen before I even met her. So I was following her story. I was hearing so much about her. I was actually at a wine auction, and Hamilton Russell, Hamilton Russell, she came up to me and she's like, you have to meet Maureen, you have to meet her. She has a wine brand. I think you guys would have great synergy. And I was like, who is this person? And then Olive just kind of walked off and she left. And I was like, how do I find this person she's talking about? So I finally met Maureen in Cape Town at a tasting, and it was like love at first sight. And I love her wine brands. I love everything that she's doing in the industry and her story. So Maureen, do you want to tell us a little bit about your story?
Yes, good evening and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. So I'm Maureen Sauls. I'm from Tesselaarstyle Wines. It's a very Dutch name, but I'll quickly tell you where it comes from. So Tesselaarstyle is a small village situated in the Overberg in the Western Cape of South Africa. And it's where I am from. And the name derives from Johannes Tesselaar, who was a captain in the Dutch army back in the 1700s. And in 1810, he left his property and some money to his then freed slaves. So I'm a descendant of those slaves, and my family still lives there. And recently, I also bought property there to plant vineyards. So that's Tesselaarstyle. I am currently sitting in my house on Hamilton Russell Vineyards in the Hemel en Aarde Valley, and that is in the Walker Bay region of the Western Cape of South Africa. And we are actually 2 kilometers from the sea. So it's a very cool maritime influenced wine region. And it's the best area basically for producing Burgundian varietals like Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. So I started at Hamilton Russell Vineyards in 2001, fresh out of school as the au pair to Anthony Hamilton Russell's children. And after a month, Anthony basically steered me into the wine business side of things. I started assisting the winemakers. And in 2014, really, Anthony Hamilton Russell gave me an opportunity to start Tesselaarstyle Wines. So I'm the sole owner of Tesselaarstyle Wines, started in 2014. First vintage was in 2015. And because we reference back to Pinot Noir, international Pinot Noirs, Chardonnay all the time, Hamilton Russell Vineyards produces a Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. It came naturally to me to produce a Pinot Noir. I source the grapes from the Hemel en Aarde Ridge, which is also a ward in this area, from dry, unirrigated vineyards. The production is very small. The Pinot Noir that you're tasting tonight, I buy in 5 tons of grapes every year on a long-term contract. And the grapes from the Hemel en Aarde Ridge has got a pristine fruit character. So exactly what you taste tonight in the glass, although there's some secondary flavors coming through there, is exactly what we get into the cellar. Very little movement to the winemaking and grape process. But the Tesselaarstyle Pinot Noir 2018, first of all, is vegan friendly. It's fine with the vegetable protein. So yeah, it's vegan friendly. It doesn't say that yet on the label. I only started implementing that on the back labels from 2019, if I'm not mistaken. And the wine is whole berry bun stomped, 10% whole berry bun stomped, and cold soaked for 1 day, just to extract all that nice flavors from the grape as it is. And what you have in your glass is a straightforward red fruit notes flavor that is typical to some of the best Pinot Noirs from the Hemel and Aarde Ridge, South Africa. And that baking spices that you get in your glass as well, that is from the play of the wooding. So I buy 5 barrels every year. So it's Francois Perez, it's French oak. So it's 5 new barrels, 5 second fill, 5 third fill on the Pinot Noir 2018. And it's just a beautiful wine, scored 93 from Tim Atkins, scored a 91 from Vinios. It just got very nice scores, a 94 from Greg, Master of Wine, Greg Sherwood, UK. And just quickly, I don't want to take up too much time. The packaging is all based around my village. So what you see on the label is actual photos that I've taken and had a young designer draw it in for me. The actual mountain range, actual aloes growing as you enter Teslasdal, 2 oak trees growing just below and upper parts of my family's house. There's 2 figures also walking over the mountain there. That's the Klein River Mountains and my mother and grandmother. So my grandma used to farm with livestock with goats, and she would walk over the mountain that way. And I've included that in my label just for a personal touch, sealed with beeswax, and that's my story.
May I see your bottle again, please?
Yeah.
Hold it up so I can get the name and everything close.
Teslasdal. Yes, very Dutch, but it's a mouthful, like the wine.
Yeah,
So
well, I'm in the Western Cape, so I can come and get some.
You can come and get some, of course. I'll leave you my number.
Okay,
on the
please.
Chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
You come by this week, I will see you.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Nice. Does anybody have any questions? Dr. Nat?
So I have a question. This is Mark.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you fine, Mark.
So we're in California enjoying this lovely wine from the other side of the world. And it's made, we just heard, a small production only. Is it possible for us to have this wine sent to California? How would we do that?
Yes, the wine is actually available in California, but it's available, I think, through Tuanni also in a package. But my distributors there is Vineyard Brands, and it's available, I think, in most of the states, definitely in California. I leave you Andy Jajal's details as well. Tuanni, I don't know if you want to, I'm not sure how it works.
You can definitely do that. So like, I'm here to support all of these brands, and however which way you get their wines, I'm just super excited that you guys are excited about the wines. So I do have a 6-pack that's available through our distributor if you wanted to order all of them and save on shipping costs. Or if you have some favorites and you wanted to order directly through their distributor or through their website, you can do that as well. So they'll share their websites in the chats, but I will also send you links to each of their websites and to their distributors that are in the States. So either way, there's so many options. Yes?
Okay,
okay, thank you.
Oh, wait 1 second. I think he had a follow-up question. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mark, did you have a follow-up question?
Yes, just a request, Tuanni. When we're finished, could you send around to me the contact information for the distributor?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that for everyone, for all of the wine brands. Yes. Okay. All right, Dr. Nat, your question now.
Maureen, thank you so much. I'm intrigued by the Burgundian inspiration. So you did answer already that it's vegan friendly. And so I was going to ask, in the vineyards that supply your fruit, are you utilizing sustainable, organic, and or biodynamic farming methods?
Thank you, Dr. Sanders. So currently, they are not certified organic because it's a very expensive process. They've already added the bugs in the vineyards to, eat the other bugs. So they started implementing that. And then also, yes, sustainable. You'll see Teslarsdal has got a sustainability seal. So we call it the integrity and sustainability seal. So all sustainable practices.
All right. Any more questions?
Yeah. How long can we sell her?
Oh, it's up to 10 years. You can keep up to both the Night Pinot and Chard, yeah, up to 10 years. It's got the structure, it's got some nice acidity because of the cool climate. So yeah, just store it, you know, out of direct sunlight. You guys know how to store wine, so.
All right, any more questions? Thank you so much, Maureen. All right, so next up is Paula Harrell. And Paula and I, we go way back. Like, she's my homegirl. We go way back. And we've done so many wine events together. We've done wine dinners together. We've done the wine festival in person together. And she's just an amazing human. And she has a really cool story too of how she entered the wine industry. And I just think it's really cool because, you know, people like Paula, myself, and most of the people on the call who are in the wine industry here, it's not like we grew up with this vision that we always wanted to be in the wine industry. I know my family wasn't involved in the industry. So it's really exciting for me to be such an engaged part of the industry right now. Paula, can you tell us your story, please?
Absolutely, Tuanni. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, we do go way back, and I intend on us going way further in the future as well together. So my name is Paula Harrell, and I'm the proprietor and vintner of P. Harrell Wines, which is a boutique wine company that I launched back in 2015. So I am almost 6 years old. I started off with one of the wines that we're drinking today, that you all are having today, which is 315 Zinfandel, and also a Riesling, and I've added a rosé to the portfolio as well. But this Zinfandel is very special, and I'll tell you a little bit about that after I tell you my story about how I got into the wine industry. I like to tell people it definitely was not a customary way of getting into the wine industry, but it was from wine consumption, a lot of wine consumption. I did an exchange program in Madrid, Spain during college, and I had my first taste of wine culture and everything about wine. And so, being a San Francisco native and having Napa in my backyard, I decided to explore everything I could about wine. So I spent a good 10 or 15 years learning about wine just from a consumer's perspective. My entire career was in real estate investing and mortgage finance. And while I was doing that, I was spending time learning about wine and visiting a lot of different wineries, making friends with different winemakers, going to visit and help during harvest, working their events at their wineries. And so after 10 or 15 years of doing this, I decided that there was something there for me and that I really wanted to learn more about wine and get involved into the wine industry. So the moment that I decided I was going to make wine was when I was doing something that you're not supposed to do, blending two different wines at the dinner table because I thought they'd be better together. And my uncle looked at me and said, "This is really good, but might I suggest you make your own damn wine and stop blending other people's wine?" And at that moment I decided, I'm going to go make my own wine. So what I did was I went back to all the people that I had made relationships with over the years and asked how I could do this. And I settled on something called custom crushing. So what I do is I purchase my grapes from several different wineries. I hired a head winemaker consultant, and we make my wine at a custom crush facility. And that's how I got into this industry. And it's been a perfect way for me to do this because it gives me a lot of flexibility. I'm learning along the way, and I feel like I'm creating some really great, well-crafted wines. So the wine that you all have today is this one, which is I hope it's in the screen there. Good. Let me just make sure I'm showing it. So this is 315. Okay, great. This is 315. And the reason it's called 315 is because I like to tell a story, like all of my wines have some the names of my wines have some significance with my family. And my mother is an immigrant from Panama, and we always had a lot of family at our home. Her and my dad were always sponsoring new family members here. It was just a melting pot of family and friends. And so that was the first wine that I wanted to make. And I wanted to make something interesting, bold, something that represented these relationships that I had at 315 Santa Ana Avenue where I was raised. This is a Dry Creek Zinfandel. All of my grapes come out of Dry Creek Valley, which is in Sonoma County. And it's the perfect place for growing Zin because the climate, it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it has very diverse soil. And there's a lot of old vines. It's like the greatest concentration of old vines vineyards is in Dry Creek Valley. And so I love that they're holding that bottle up. And so it's a great place to grow Zin. And this is I think I said it was a 2019 vintage. It's got great structure to it. It's actually more of a medium to full bodied wine, even though the color on it is a little bit lighter. Don't let the light color fool you because once you take a sip of it, you can see it has some great structure. It's pretty fruit driven, I would say. Layers of vanilla and clove, a little cinnamon, a little leathery as well. It's a really smooth drinking Zin. People a lot of times taste it and don't even recognize it. It's a Zin, but my goal was to make a wine that everybody could enjoy. And it is got some very well-balanced tannins, and it'll lay down for, gosh, a good 10 years, even though it's very drinkable right now. It's also been aged in French oak, and I co-fermented this Zinfandel with Petite Syrah. So you have 92% Zin and also 8% Petite Syrah. And I co-fermented them before putting them into the French oak barrel, which aged for about, let's say we did about 18 months. So I feel like you get a lot of that, sort of toasted oak and vanilla on this wine. Pairs great with barbecue and, steak and ribs and let's say burgers, any of that kind of thing, but it also pairs really well with like aged Gouda, blueberry cheese. You'd be surprised to get a lot of the blueberry flavor out of that from those types of cheeses. So it's it's one of my favorite wines, and I think it's Tuanni's favorite wine as well. And we do about 500 cases of this per year, and increasing because luckily it's been doing very well and selling out. So yes, that's our store. It's P. Harrell Wines 315, and we'll be also releasing 2 other wines later this year: a Petite Syrah, that's actually the Petite Syrah in this wine, and a Brut Sparkling. Hopefully by about November, December, we'll be releasing that. So. Does anybody have any questions?
I can't wait. So before you have your question, I just wanted to make a comment because that is one of my favorite wines, right? And the reason that I like it is because I love Zinfandel. It reminds me so much of home. As a matter of fact, I am missing a California Zinfandel right now. So anytime somebody comes to South Africa, just send me a Zinfandel. But what I do like, especially like about that Zinfandel, is because it comes from a cooler region, right? So like the lighter color, the more refined. I mean, it's big, but it's also refined too. So I love cool climate Zinfandels as much as I love, Paso Robles Zins too. Zin can be so diverse. But anyway, I can nerd out all day about Zinfandel. Does anybody have a question or any feedback about the Zin? Is anybody drinking the
I'd like to see the bottle again so I can get the name.
Absolutely.
I don't.
Is it close
For some odd reason. Okay, now that's better. Thank you. Okay. Perfect. I'll visit you too.
Excellent.
Nice. Anybody else have any feedback or any questions? All right. So next we're going to move on to Theodora Lee, Theopatra, Queen of the Vines. That's what she's known as. And she is like a superstar. When I say a superstar, I mean superwoman, because this woman is a professional lawyer with one of the top law firms in the United States. And she also owns her own vineyard. Her house is beautiful. She's so gracious. She opens it up like pre-COVID, she opens it up to people and we go and we drink and we eat her food, and she's just so gracious and such a beautiful human being. And her wines are simply amazing. And I'm gonna just let Theo tell her story because she does such an amazing job of telling it.
Thank you, Tuanni. It is so good to be here. I am near your hometown in Long Beach right now, but I don't miss it. As Tuanni said, I was at one of the first ones at a restaurant in South Central. If you remember, it was one of the very first ones, and we've been together ever since. As Tuanni says, I'm Theo Lee, and I came out of Dallas, Texas. I didn't drink wine, okay? You know, Paula lived in San Francisco, they drank wine, but my dad used to take old wild muscadine grapes. And if you're from the South and you know about muscadine, if you take muscadine grapes and make wine, for me, that's what I thought wine was. And it was so nasty, I never drank wine. Okay, I drank wild turkey, bourbon, all kind of stuff. Anybody knew me at Spelman, I always had Wonder Punch. And, you know, like I say, I've always specialized in pleasure bottle. But I moved to California in the 80s as a first-year associate to work at my law firm, Littler Mendelsohn. And by the way, we're a global law firm now. At the time I joined it, it was only 50 lawyers. Now we have over 2,500 lawyers all over the world. We're coming to South Africa, so I'm hoping to see you soon. And even if the firm doesn't come, when COVID's over, I'm coming. I love South Africa. I've been there a couple times doing missionary work. But back to Theophilus Vineyards. So I started practicing law. Back in the 80s, we didn't have faxes and emails and all of those things that we have now to communicate. So if you had a brief due to a partner and they were at their weekend home in Napa or Sonoma, you got in your car and you drove that brief to their house. And so they would sometimes, my law firm mentor, Barbara and Pierre O'Doney, they had a place in Hillsburg. And they would invite me to stay for dinner. And then they would offer me wine. I'm like, no, I don't drink wine. You got some Jack Daniels, you got some wild turkey, whatever, okay? And they were like, well, why don't you drink wine? So I told them about my father making this wild muscadine. They said, well, that's not wine. Okay, you know, there's something called fine wine. Why don't you try this? And they actually grow Cabernet and Zinfandel because they're in the Dry Creek Valley. And I tasted it and I gagged. I'm like, this is bitter, okay? You know, like I'm a Texan. I don't know nothing about wine. So she says, well, you will acquire taste. Well, it didn't come naturally. So after going there over and over and over, they gave me a Chardonnay. And I fell in love. Back in the 80s, California Chardonnay was buttery and oak. They don't do that much anymore. This was heaven to me. And that's where I started drinking fine wine. And then I graduated to Cabernet, and now that's one of my favorite wines. Well, that set a dream. Now, that was in the 80s. I'm a single woman. I practice law, but I do employment law. So most of my clients think I work as commodity. So I ain't no high-flying, you know, partner at $1 million, you know, kind of firm. But I do fun. We do sex, drugs, and rock and roll, which is why I've been doing it 34 years. But I developed that dream. It took me until 2001 to be able to refinance my house, take out money out of my house in Oakland, and buy 20 acres in the Yorkville Highlands of the Anderson Valley. Now that is my vineyard behind me, a picture of it. But it didn't look like that when I bought the land. I inherited sheep because they couldn't catch them before close of escrow. I inherited 8 chickens, and I had the chickens, they laid some beautiful eggs until the foxes came and ate them. And so I started, you know, getting the land prepared to grow grapes. I had to do soil digs, amendments, lime, all of those things. And I learned to drive on a tractor at the age of 8. So country living was great. My grandfather was a sharecropper, but my father said, if you ever get any money, buy land. So I did. And so I planted my vineyard in 2003. I had my first harvest in 2006. I sold my grapes, and that's all I ever wanted to do was sell my grapes and have a vineyard designation of Theophilus Vineyards on the bottle. So I sold my grapes to a guy named Mike Officer Carlisle. Robert Parker, the wine critic, gave the wine from my grapes a 96 on my first harvest. So that's how I started in the business. Fast forward to 2012. 2012, I had a new buyer. We'd gone through the Great Recession, and I'm way in Mendocino County, the Yorkville Highlands of Anderson Valley. So I'm 2 hours north of San Francisco, after Hillsburg, after Cloverdale, on your way to the coast. And I delivered 8 tons of grapes to the then buyer. He rejected those grapes because I had to pick in the rain at 23 bricks. The contract required 25 bricks. A lawyer got screwed by a contract. Now I write all my contracts myself. Okay, and so I had 8 tons of grapes with no home. I had just lost my shirt in real estate, so I had no money. So I actually bartered to get the wine made. I found a winemaker who was willing to make the wine for the fee of taking half of the tonnage of grapes. So he got 4 tons of my Petite, and he made 4 tons of my Petite. And that 2012 vintage won gold at Sunset Magazine. And since then, our Petite Syrah has won best in class, double gold. It has won everything. Now that's what I specialize in. I also do a Pinot Noir from Anderson Valley, Yorkville Highlands, Santa Lucia Highlands. I also do a wonderful, delightful white wine called Symphony. But tonight, for those in South Africa and for those here in California, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You are going to be tasting my first blend, and that is Cuvée Cerise. And I will tell you that this idea of doing a blend came out of a project I was doing with urban connoisseurs. They're going to do a film or some kind of documentary about Black winemakers. And several of the vintners got together at Phil Long's Longevity. And I brought my Petite Syrah, he brought some Syrah, and we did a Rhone blend. That Rhone blend was so good, and urban connoisseurs sold it to help with film. And I said, well, yeah, I got Petite Syrah, I got a neighbor that got Syrah. I don't know nothing about this Mourvedre, but I could probably get some. And in 2019, grapes were very reasonably priced. So I'm being frugal, the person that I am, I was able to buy the fruit, and I bought a Rhone blend, but I don't do anything like anybody else. I didn't want to do a GSM. That's generally what the Rhone blend is. I call mine a PMS. It's my Petite, Mourvedre, and Syrah. And if you need something to get over PMS, and for any men who have wives who got PMS, give them a glass of this PMS and you'll be good. And so since you wanted to talk a little bit about the wine, we actually co-fermented the Mourvedre and the Syrah in stainless steel open top fermenting. We punched it down, we aged that for 12 months in 15% new French oak. I'm like Paula, I love French oak. Then my Petite Syrah was fermented 35% whole cluster in stainless steel on the open top fermentator. And then we punched it out and we aged that for 12 months. This comes from the 2019 vintage. It is, oh my God, 14.9 alcohol. It is now one of my favorite. I love my Petite, but Petite is so big, sometimes you don't have enough time to air it. I mean, my Petite wine enthusiasts gave my 2018 Petite a 96 points. And they say it's best drunk in 2030, okay? I ain't waiting around 2030, so I have a bunch of things to open up. But this one you can open up and drink it now. I hope you enjoy it. It is my favorite, and because it has been so successful, I bottled this last November, 2020. We are almost sold out. So I just did and bottled in July a 2017 Cuvée Cerise, a 2018 Cuvée Cerise, because I sometimes don't bottle my Petite. I leave it in the barrel because it has to be perfect to go into my estate wine. And so I had some from 2017 and 2018. So I made about 125 cases each of those vintages. And we will be putting those on the market. Sign up for our wine club. I'll put it in a thing because we're going to have a virtual wine release party in September. We usually have our harvest and bottle release party in September, but with COVID, we've had Paula pour there. Tuanni has always come when she was moved from South Africa. We have an old-fashioned Texas barbecue. We have a live R&B band. We get down, we get funky. So hold on to 2022, and we hope to be back partying and drinking wine and eating good ribs.
Yes, it is definitely a party. Oh my goodness. Did I tell you her energy is unmatched? It's amazing. Does anybody have any questions about her story or about the wine?
Where are you located?
I am in the Yorkville Highlands of Anderson Valley in Mendocino, California.
Oh,
we private tastings by appointment only. Labor Day weekend, we're taking appointments. And because I am a full-time lawyer, I'm generally only the property on the weekends. I also take care of my 95-year-old mother in Texas, so I'm there starting Wednesday. So it's just like when I'm on property, I'll welcome you with open arms, but it's not that often.
Mark, go ahead.
I have a question. Theo?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Hi, it's Mark Penscar, Theo.
Hey, Mark, how you doing? I like your backyard party.
I have some guests in my backyard, and they want to know whether you make any wimpy wine.
He heard my story before. I don't make wimpy wines. And I'm a big girl. I ain't gonna be making no wimpy wines, which is why I didn't really want to do a Pinot Noir. But my Pinot Noir is very fruit forward and not like those. I mean, with all due respect, you know, the people in France think they do everything great. They do barrels great, but I don't like dirt-based wines. That forest floor stuff, that's another way of saying dirt. I like fruit forward, bold wines, and I don't specialize in wimpy wines. You're right on time.
Mark, is this available locally? Yeah.
Well, you can buy our wines. I'll put it on that at theopolisvineyards.com. Sign up for our mailing list because we offer scales with free shipping. We're probably going to be doing something relating to our upcoming tasting for the bottle release. But we often do free shipping, especially doing Sheltered Place last year. And, you know, the one impediment to getting wine is the shipping cost. But if we can eliminate that and get the wine to you, you're coming back. That's our belief.
So we can't visit then?
You can visit by appointment. Like I said, Labor Day weekend. If you email me at Cleopatra at Theopolis Vineyards, and you're going to be in the area and I'm around, I do private tasting. I have a fun tasting room, but with COVID, we do them on the deck to make sure everyone is safe.
Tuanni, last year you highlighted one of her wines, but I want to say, was it unfiltered? What was the
yes, we highlighted the 2014 unfiltered and unfined Anderson Valley Pinot red wine. Our bottle is unfiltered and unfined. That means we don't put anything between the grape and the bottle and the glass. And some of it's going to be cloudy, some of it's not going to be pretty. And I call that 2014 Pinot my dirty wine. It's dirty, it's cloudy, but it's high alcohol and it gets you where you got to go, where you want to go.
Yeah. When they said wimpy wine, I was like, no, but she make a dirty wine. And that's what I was thinking of. It was delicious. It was delicious.
It was delicious.
But we're almost sold out of it. So if you like it, you better buy it because I think we're down to 10 cases.
Nice.
Okay.
Theo,
thank you.
Theo, this is Dr. Nat in LA. I'm going to second, third, fourth, and fifth that emotion. Some of us are young enough to know what that means.
We definitely know what I have to break up because I've been around for a while.
I tasted on the yacht in the marina with a broke ass ankle.
You, Dr. Sanders.
That Syrah blew me away. It took me a couple of years, but I became a society member. And when you released the cuvee, the cerise, I even have a couple of bottles of Between the Vines.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, then you know what motivated me to do the blend. Because I know.
So like I say, I second, third, fourth, and fifth that emotion.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you, Dr. Sanders.
Say something, please. Theo, I think I love you. I love your energy. I love how you talk about wine. I also produce a Petite Syrah. It's very new in South Africa still. A lot of people don't know how to interpret the wine because it's big, it's bulky. It can be quite attacking if you don't work with it perfectly or you don't know how to work with it. So Tuanni, it's unfair that you have them here and we cannot taste their wines.
I have some people coming from the United States, so I am going to have them bring a kit or two over, and so then we'll just have to meet at your house, Carmen, or come to my house and we'll all stay together. Yeah.
I would love to taste it.
It'll be in September though. It's not coming until mid-September. But I will have all the wines that are on the call in South Africa, like a couple bottles of them. So yes.
And Carmen, when I come to South Africa, I will be bringing 2 suitcases of wine. As Tuanni knows, I have suitcases that I carry, one bag of clothes and 2 bags of wine wherever I go. And when I come to South Africa, we can sit down and drink some wine together.
Please. Yeah, you're going to have to bring 3 suitcases because I'm going to be
make sure, if next month is September, make sure we're there, Tuanni.
I will. So listen, Dr. Betty, you actually have Carmen's Petite Syrah. So can you like maybe tell us about a little bit about how it tastes?
There's not much left.
Well, that's a good sign.
It is so smooth. It is absolutely the smoothest. I started at dinner and I saved it for tonight, and now Hal's joined me. So I want more of it. So I'm glad to meet you, Carmen. We will definitely get more. And this leopard is my mantra, so perfect for me.
I must tell you, my label carries a picture of a painting that my daughter drew when she was 6. She turned 18 last week, and it's actually, when you look at the picture, it's supposed to be a tiger, but in the tiger there is a crow or bird. There's a side view of a man, and there is a dog in the middle. And I always thought that this is so much how wine is. People see wine differently, and the more you taste, and the more experience you get, the more you see in a wine. And I thought how perfect it is for a label. So thank you. Yes, thank you for noticing.
Yes, and I have to thank Candace publicly for bringing us into this loop. We have now found our notch.
Nice.
We don't need to come back to LA. Bring whatever you got here. We got everything in Cape Town.
Oh, Dr. Betty, you want Hal back?
Yeah, we need you back.
We need you back. You just go back to that 6 months here, 6 months there. We'll share you.
That's right.
We've loved this 2 years. It's been amazing.
Or maybe even permanent.
Wait, I'm sorry. Just 1 second. We have one question about the wine before we start the reunion. Okay. Mark, you guys have a question? Mark's group? I see a glass raised. Yes. Just unmute yourself, Mark.
Hi.
Hello.
Theo, I just wanted to say, I live in Alameda and on a floating home, and I'm just wondering if you can bring this lovely wine, this lovely blend over to a deck in Alameda.
Oh, Theo, wait a second. You're on mute.
Yes, I would love to do that. I live in Oakland, so I am just across the bay. And so
you're across the estuary.
The estuary. Correct. And so I do deliver. So just email me at theopatra@theopplesvineyards.com and we'll set something up. And actually, we're working on getting our wines down at the new Brooklyn Basin. And so so that's right there with the Oakland Symphony doing concerts and jazz. Were you there last Thursday night?
I'm an usher with them. I was there last Thursday. Please, everybody, come for the next 3 Thursdays. And here's to Michael Morgan. Michael Morgan.
May he rest in power. He was an incredible man.
Yes.
And, I love the symphony and I love what's happening in Oakland despite its politics.
Yes. Thank you.
So, Theo, this is Mark again. So we'll put something together with my wine group and I'll be in touch with you.
Okay, very well. I love doing private tastings. And you're right in Alameda. I'm in Oakland, and we'll make it happen.
Nice.
I love it. Right on my deck on the water, honey, looking right over at Oakland.
Hey, I'm there.
I love how wine brings the world together. Ned, you have your hand raised. You have a question? Oh, wait, so you're on mute.
I have a question. We opened all these wines, so which one should we have for dinner with our salmon?
I mean, people always say the classic pairing with salmon would be Pinot Noir, right? The Pinot Noir would probably go really great with the salmon, but I don't like to follow the rules. I say you drink what you love and you eat what you like, or vice versa. So it just depends on what kind of mood you're in. You know what? It's early for you guys. Why don't you just have them all? If there's two of you guys.
Yeah, we opened them all. They're all very, very, very good.
Yeah. Okay, so
Okay.
next.
I'm going back to the first winemaker, the eggs. I never heard of a plastic egg. Do you age it in the egg?
Yes, we do. Actually, it's a polyethylene egg, which we actually imported from the USA probably 10 years ago. So it's in the shape of an egg, but the material that it's made of, the plastic, actually allows a little bit of oxygen through to the wine. So very similar to what you would get from a barrel, even though there's no wood contact. So it has that, so it really gives you that mouthfeel and perception that you might have some wine that has been aged in barrel, but there was no wood contact to it. But it's also only a very small percentage, so only about 15% that we would age in the plastic egg.
And the cement egg is used for fermentation or also for aging?
Yeah, so all of the wines, we start fermentation in the stainless steel tanks, and then about halfway through fermentation we would either move it to the concrete egg, or we'll move it to a plastic egg, or it will stay in the tank. Sorry, yes.
How is the effect of the plastic egg compared to, say, an amphora, aging it in amphora?
Yeah, so the plastic egg, what it really gives you, we also tend to put the portion of the Chardonnay that we put in the plastic egg, we usually pick quite a bit later. So it's a little bit of a riper wine that you'll get in there. So you'll get a lot of fruit character on there as well, a lot of especially yellow fruit, and that egg would actually just retain that fruitness. Whereas your amphora and your concrete egg, what you normally get from that, is more minerality, more retaining minerality in the wine.
Okay. All right.
Can I ask a question that I didn't ask earlier? Thank you so much for bringing us back to that Chardonnay. How much time did it spend with the Lees?
Between the 2018 actually spent 8 months with the Lees.
And did it undergo full malolactic fermentation?
There's no malolactic fermentation.
Got it.
Yes, so no malolactic fermentation. It's normally a very long and slow alcoholic fermentation. So we keep it very cold, between 12 and 14 degrees. And then as soon as it's done, alcoholic fermentation will cool it down completely, just to stop fermentation and ensure that it doesn't go through malolactic.
Okay, thank you. I kind of just kind of getting oriented on the call when you were speaking.
Awesome, no worries. Sorry, just to quickly jump in here, it has been so refreshing to hear all of you talk about dry Creek Valley and Mendocino County. I was there in Russian River Valley 2 years ago. In 2019, I did a harvest there in Windsor. So it has been so good to hear all of you talking about those areas. It's lovely. We actually had all those bad fires, and we had to go to Oakland as well for a whole week. We didn't know where we were going to stay, but it was so amazing. So it's good to hear from all of you.
That's the adventure of travel.
For sure, definitely.
If you're in the area, make sure you look us up, because we'll give you Texas hospitality in California.
No, perfect. I always said that I would love to go back, so I'll definitely look you up. And please come and visit us at Stellenbosch as well.
Can you send us on an email as opposed to chat, because chat dies after you get off of it? Can you send everyone the contact information for the various folks, because I'm serious about connecting?
Yeah, so what I usually do after this wine event, and if you have any objections, just send me a chat or a text message, but I usually take all the email addresses. So like if you registered for this event, I have your email address, and then I'll just do a master list, and then I share that with the winemakers, and I can share it with, if you guys don't mind, if you guys want to stay connected to each other, I can share it with the customers as well. So if you have an objection to that, just let me know. But yeah. Michelle, you have a question? Uh-oh, you're on mute.
Yes, so I have a question for Syrah or Theodora. Hi there, Syrah. What's next? What are you working on next?
Well, you know, I'm really working on trying to retire from law in 5 years, so that I can do wine full time. But, you know, the Cuvée blend is something new. And then if you noticed last winter, I produced a Cuvée Blanc, which is basically a Chardonnay, but because people have, either you love Chardonnay or you don't, I call it a Cuvée Blanc. And plus, you know, with the TTB, you know, having to get a new label every time. If I say a white blend, I don't have to go back to TTB every time I do it. So I will be bottling another Cuvée Blanc in the fall, and those are my two new varietal, blends, the Cuvée Blanc and the Cuvée Cerise, and those would be two added to my portfolio. So now I will have 6 wines in my portfolio: the State Petite Syrah, the Pinots, the Rosé of Petite, which we call it summer red because it doesn't drink like a rosé, and then the Cuvée Cerise and the Cuvée Blanc. And then I'm just going to hopefully be able to sell that long enough to retire and really be able to come and spend, you know, months in South Africa like Tuanni. She has the dream life, okay?
She does.
I'm here working my ass off to pay bills so I can pay everything off. When I retire, I can really enjoy life.
Theo, any plans to do a sparkling?
You know, doing a sparkling, I was so excited to hear Paula say she's doing a sparkling. But, you know, as much as I would love to do a sparkling, I do not have I make my wines in a actually co-op, and we do not have the facility to make sparkling wines. And I just am not in a position at this point to go to a third-party custom crush to take on that expense. And, you know, I would love to do it, but it's not on my radar anytime soon. And I can't wait to taste Paula's sparkling. And we both live in Oakland, so I'll be coming to do the taste test with you.
Yes, absolutely, Thea.
Any more questions? Dr. Nat?
Thank you so much for asking that question about the sparkling. And Theo, thank you for your honesty and candor. Is that a niche that we need to fill?
On a business call, I'll be out shortly. They're trying to kick me out of the room. So,
is that a niche that we need to fill to have a custom crush co-op that can do sparklings?
Oh, bravo.
I'm just asking a question. Look, I ain't got no money, but I know some people that got money.
Well, Paula may be able to speak to that. I did investigate doing sparkling wine, but it's a whole different process of making sparkling wine than actually dry, you know,
exactly.
And so, you know, I would have to defer to Paula, but it was going to be far more than I could choose. Because, you know, I'm still in this business as a, you know, sole proprietor. My wine daughter, who Tuanni met, she's still with me. We wanted to bring on time, but, you know, ebbs and flows. So, Paula, maybe you can address whether we could, like, get together and just co-op with sparkling.
Yeah, I think that it would be, it also depends on how many people, like how many of us want to make sparkling wines, if that would make sense. But I would think so, because it's not an easy thing to, like an easy place to find to be able to produce sparkling wine. I use a custom crush facility out of Sebastopol, and they do not produce it either. So I had to go to another place to be able to produce the sparkling wine. So I think that it could be something worthwhile looking into, because there are not many, winemakers of color that make sparkling, and I'm sure that there'd be an audience for it.
And I'm thinking about all of the resources that we have access to through AAAV, the Association of African American Vintners. I just have to, maybe I'm naive because I'm not in that aspect of the business. I'm more of a promoter, but I would have to imagine that there could be some collaboration where everyone could be successful in this. So maybe
I understand. Phil Long, who is the president of the Association of African American, he does a sparkling wine, but he does it with a company in Lodi. The McBride sisters, they're in a class of their own. They do a sparkling wine. The folks that just opened up a wine shop in Oakland, the Safari group, they do a sparkling wine. So there are folks doing it, but they have to go to other facilities to get them done. And, I juggle enough balls, and I want to juggle the balls that I can juggle well right now.
I love it.
And I'm going to get kicked out of my room, so I'm going to bid farewell, because otherwise they'll probably charge me some arm and a leg. I did get a 2 o'clock late checkout, but they just knocked on the door. So thanks everyone for your being here. Thank you, Tuanni, for having us. And I'm just going to log off. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll make sure you put that list so you can contact everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Wow, what amazing energy she has. I don't even know how she does it. Lawyer by day, winemaker by night, and she still has so much energy. Do you guys have any more questions for the wine brands, winemakers that are on the call still?
So we can get everything through you.
Yes, you mean all the contact information?
Well, all the wines, because we want to load up our cellar. So
yeah, so all the wines that were on the call today, let me put it in the chat, and I'm gonna send it out in the email as well. But here is the number for the website for the distributor. It's called Thulana Wines, and let's see. There we go. So if you click on that link, and then there's the Zuri wine tasting kit, and you can get all 6 wines again. You can order multiple kits, so that way you have 2 of them, and then you just save on the shipping costs if you wanted to do that. And then also I'm going to send you guys all a list of the wine brands that were on the call and their contact information, and then their distributor information if they're South African, so that you can reach out if you don't want the entire kit and you just have a favorite and you want to order a case of that favorite or something like that. So that information I will send out tonight or tomorrow probably, and then you guys will have all the contact information. Any more questions?
Yeah,
Any more
wine in like 3 locations. So it's okay to have the wine shipped directly to, like, we have like 55 degrees, and we also have cellared wine at another location, and then we have cellared wine here at the house. So they can ship the wine directly to our cellar locations.
Yeah, as long as there's somebody there that's over 21 to sign for it, yeah, they can ship it anywhere.
Okay.
Wait a minute, are you at 55 degrees in Atwater Village?
No, it's 55 degrees, and I think where is it? It's Napa.
Oh, okay, because there's a 55 degrees place. It's a place called 55 Degrees in Atwater Village near LA. That's where I had my 55th birthday.
All right.
So we have it 55 degrees. That's in Napa, and then also River Valley, which is in New York.
Oh,
and
okay.
We have a cellar here at the house.
Nice. You guys have wine all over the place. Okay, you need a cellar in South Africa. Come to South Africa, Cape Town. Hello.
Well, looks like we maybe want to retire there, because it seems like some expats seem to be retiring there in South Africa.
Yeah, there's a huge expats culture here and society, and lots of us here. Yeah.
Definitely. And if I can just share, we do trips to South Africa and Ghana. And so we've got a wine and jazz tour happening in March of 2022. And just a lot of, I'll say, Black Americans that live in Durban, right? And so we make sure that we make a point to go to Durban as well as Cape Town and Johannesburg. So if anyone's interested, yeah, please let me know.
Yes, would you please send that information to me?
Yes, absolutely.
Dr. Betty at iCloud.com. We'll be there. We're here.
And also, if you like this form of talking about wine online, please note that we do have a wine tasting club. We meet every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We pick a wine of the week. We discuss it. We go through a deductive tasting using my wine discovery kit. And it's super fun. We have some members of the wine tribe here on the call. They can vouch for it. So like if you guys want, I'll also put some information in the note that I sent you guys after this tasting. So yeah, so that's every Tuesday at 6 p.m. All right.
The kit is fabulous.
Can I ask Tuanni, I'm sorry, I took your classes early on. It's good to see some familiar faces on here. Is that free now? Like anyone can do it, or you got to sign up like you did before?
Oh no, it's not free. I got to eat.
Nothing is free in the world.
So you did like 6 weeks, or you did like a period?
It's really reasonable though. It's $35 a season, and so the season is usually about 8. So like 2 months. So it's $35 a season, and that's for 8 sessions. And then it's guided tasting using my wine discovery kit, which is basically these 59 deductive tasting cards. We go through the cards and we evaluate wine. We learn how to speak the language of wine so that we can all speak the same language. And it's just super fun to taste wines with people. You can get wines from the distributor, or you can just go to your local grocery store. I just give you the grape varietal, and then I'll give you a couple options for buying those wines. And you buy the wines and you jump on the call. Super fun.
Hey, Tuanni. This is Cynthia. I have your kit. It came in the height of COVID. I just reached in my file cabinet here and brought it out. I haven't looked at it since it arrived, so I'm missing something, right?
No, you have to open it up, and it's just so fun to open it up and open up a bottle of wine and just use the cards to go through the wines. You have to open it up. It's amazing. It's my COVID.
Did I sign up for this club at the same time, or did I just get the bag, this box?
I think you just got the kit, so you can get the kit in the club for like $59. I think that's the price for the kit in the club. You can buy the season. You can buy a year. A year is $99. One season is $35.
I'll go back and read the fine print.
Yes. All right. Any more
Use the kit with this Petite Syrah. It was wonderful. There's no more left, so it tells you how good it was.
Very good. Very good. I'm glad that you liked it.
Can I say something, Tuanni?
Yes.
Paula, I've been following you for quite some time. I really like what you're doing. And I would like to come out, if I'm ever in California or that, I would like to come and visit you. And I was just thinking, I tried to make a wine with a winemaker in California and blend it together. And I actually would like to see if we can't do something like that.
Oh yeah, that would be heaven for me.
What do you think?
I couldn't hear everything, but I heard some of it. You were talking to me, right?
Yes.
But I couldn't hear some of it. Yes, I just wanted to make sure. I would love that. No, thank you. I would absolutely love that. And I loved your story and listening to you talk about, your wine process and how you're making wine. So please come on out here and let's get together. That would be awesome. You'll have my information when Tuanni sends it out. But that would be really, I would really like that.
Carmen, when you go to California, I have a whole hookup for you, so don't worry about that.
Right. And happy birthday.
Thank you. So it's officially your birthday, so I think we should all just take this time to
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not yet. It's close.
No, yes. So a little bit longer. But happy birthday. Happy married birthday.
Happy birthday.
Any more questions?
Right.
How are
Paula,
you
you
guys
said you
liking
had a sparkling, correct?
I don't yet, but I will
You don't
soon.
yet. You will soon. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so if you follow us, I put our email address, I'm sorry, our website information in here, but if you go onto our website and sign up for our newsletter, we'll be notifying everybody when it's been released.
Very good.
Yes.
Carmen, what's your location?
Dr. Petite, I'm in Stellenbosch. I have a cellar in Stellenbosch, was in town. It's close to the big Distel group, like 2 minutes from them. It's a very basic cellar, but it does the job. I can do my own crushing. I think that's fantastic that I can call the shots. My own winery.
It's nice and cozy.
So do you have wine tasting?
I don't normally, but if people ask me and I can arrange it beforehand, I do it. And I love to do wine tastings out of my barrels and wines that are just going to bottle. So yeah, I like to
Okay,
show.
I'll call you. We'll do that.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
And you know what? If you want some Zoomers, I'll wake up to drink some wine.
Wow.
When I'm not seeing patients, it's all about wine for me.
I love it.
Okay, we'll make a date.
All right. So any more questions? No? Okay, so how are you guys liking the wines? Does anybody have a favorite so far?
I'm loving the sparkling rosé. This is incredible. I just absolutely love it. It has a peachy flavor to it, and you know, I'm transitioning from beer to wine because I can't drink hardly any beer anymore. So I still need a little bit of that sparkling to give me the reminiscence of having beer drinking. So I just absolutely love this. I mean, the peachy flavor just comes through, and I just love it.
Very cool. Anybody else have any favorites? Oh, you're saying the Petite and which is the Zinfandel. Petite and the Zinfandel. Nice.
Oh, wait, one more.
Yes.
And one more. We have three favorites here.
I love it in the Tesla. I love it.
Right. We opened everything this evening, so we have to kind of decide what we're going to put in our serving cellar versus what we're going to drink tonight. So
you guys are having salmon. I say go for the Pinot Noir. That's the safest choice.
So Christopher, where are you guys located?
We're in Indianapolis.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, yeah.
We're going to be in California in June, hopefully, for like a week vacation.
Okay, well, Christopher, you got to give me a call. I can help you plan an itinerary for Napa.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Let me know if I can help with some of that, Tuanni.
Okay, I will. I will let you know. All right. So any more questions? Thanks so much to the wine brands for joining us and for helping me get your wines to the United States and to the people in the States. Thanks so much for my longtime wine brands in the United States who have supported me through all these years. I appreciate you. And for Jennifer, the new one to the fold, thank you so much. I'm super excited about our relationship. You guys don't have any more questions? I think we'll end the call. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Tuanni, thank you. It's a great event.
Thank you.
Great job, Tuanni.
Thanks,
Great
you guys.
Wonderful.
Thank you, everyone.
Good to see you, Tuanni.
I'm excitedly waiting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 All right,